Jamie Demons King, the mother of YNW Melly, just dropped 2 words that shook the entire internet.
We expect Melly to come home.
May.
Melly coming home. And ever since that moment, nothing has felt the same. The reaction was instant, explosive, confused, hopeful, skeptical. The internet didn't just respond, it spiraled. Because when you hear something like that, after everything this case has been, you don't just scroll past it. You stop, you rewind, you start asking questions. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're gonna break down what is actually happening in Melly's case right now, and whether those 2 words mean what people desperately want them to mean, or if this is just another emotional wave in a case that has already stretched on for far too long. The post that changed everything. It wasn't a press conference. It wasn't a courtroom announcement. It wasn't even a verified legal update. It was just an Instagram story. A few words, no explanation, no documents, no details. But sometimes that's all it takes. Because the person who posted it wasn't just anyone, it was his mother, a woman who has watched her son sit in a cell for over 7 years without a conviction, without a sentence, without closure. So when she said, "Melly coming home," it didn't feel random. It felt like something behind the scenes had shifted. But before we run with that, before we turn hope into fact, we need to slow this all the way down, because nothing about this case has ever been simple. 7 years of silence, pressure, and survival. To understand why those words hit so hard, you have to understand the road that led here. Jamel Demons, born May 1st, 1999 in Gifford, Florida, didn't come from stability. He was raised by a mother who was just 14 years old when she had him. A child raising a child, in an environment where survival came before everything else. There was no blueprint, no structure, no safety net. By the time he was old enough to understand the world, the streets had already shaped it for him. He got involved early, arrested young. At just 15 or 16 years old, he was already facing serious charges, including shooting at students near his high school. That led to convictions, time in juvenile detention, and a cycle that kept pulling him back. But here's what separates his story. While he was locked up, he didn't disappear. He created. From behind bars, he recorded music, dropped projects, built an identity. He wasn't just surviving incarceration, he was building YNW Melly. So when he came home in 2018, he didn't hesitate. He exploded. The rise that changed everything. Within months, Melly went from unknown to undeniable. Song after song started gaining traction, millions of views, a sound that felt different, melodic, emotional, but still rooted in the streets. Then came the moment that changed everything. Murder on My Mind. That track didn't just go viral, it defined him. It climbed charts, went multi-platinum, pulled him into the spotlight faster than most artists ever experience. Suddenly, he was standing next to some of the hottest names in rap, with momentum that looked unstoppable. By early 2019, he wasn't just rising, he was arriving. And then, everything stopped. The night that ended it all, October 26, 2018. While his career was still climbing, something happened in Miramar, Florida, that would change the course of his life forever. 2 people close to him, YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, were shot and killed. They weren't strangers, they weren't outsiders, they were part of his circle, his people. The initial story? A drive-by shooting. But almost immediately, things didn't add up. No shell casings outside, no physical evidence supporting the story, no signs of an external attack. Instead, investigators started focusing on what was inside the vehicle, because the forensic evidence told a completely different story. The shots came from within. When the narrative started collapsing, ballistics pointed to a single direction. The wounds didn't match a drive-by scenario. Even evidence inside the vehicle suggested a cleanup attempt. And then came the messages, alleged texts, conversations, statements that prosecutors would later use to build their case, painting a picture that was far darker than the original story. By February 2019, everything shifted. Melly was arrested, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, at just 19 years old, and from that moment forward, he hasn't walked free.
Melly's goose is kind of cooked. And like the judge said, a judge does not have any discretion. 0.
7 years later, and still no verdict. Think about that. 7 years, no conviction, no final decision, just waiting. The first trial didn't even happen until 2023, nearly 5 years after the arrest. And when it finally did, it ended in a mistrial, a split jury, no conclusion, no closure. And since then, delays, motions, appeals, reschedules. Each time it feels like the case is moving forward, it gets pushed back again, until eventually, the retrial was set all the way for 2027, almost a decade after everything started. So why now?
He's taken a deal where he's getting, 10 years in, 6 years on probation. He's already got 7 in.
That's the real question, because Jamie Demons King didn't just post those words. Not after 7 years, not after everything this case has been. Something changed. Something behind the scenes moved enough for her to believe, or at least feel, that saying Melly coming home was justified. But what exactly shifted? Is this real progress, or just another moment of hope in a case that has repeatedly crushed it? That's what we're breaking down next, because the truth is, this case might finally be starting to crack. Think about this for a second. 4 separate attempts to get this man released while awaiting trial. 4 separate denials, each one shutting the door just a little harder. And then, March 31st, 2026, YNW Melly is scheduled to appear for a status hearing, and he doesn't show up. No appearance, no explanation on record. Was it strategy? A silent protest against the conditions he's been held under? Or just a man who's been locked in a system for 7 years, finally exhausted by it? We don't know. But what we do know is this: the court didn't stop moving. The judge immediately set a new date, April 30th, 2026, 9:30 a.m. A hearing that could change everything. The date that changed the tone. That April 30th hearing isn't just another court date. It's the moment.
The prosecutor's case should look very strong. It should look extremely strong, like you were saying, because we haven't heard the other side.
Because on that day, arguments will be heard for bond and every pending motion tied to this case. If the judge grants it, Melly could walk out of Broward County Jail, not free in the full sense, but out, on strict conditions, house arrest, monitoring, limited movement, but still outside those walls for the first time since 2019. If the judge denies it, nothing changes. He stays exactly where he's been, locked in a cell, waiting until January 2027 for a retrial, almost a decade after his arrest. And that's the reality that existed when, just 2 weeks before this hearing, his mother posted those 2 words, Melly coming home. Now this is where people need to slow down and understand something critical. The viral claim that Melly's release has been officially confirmed, that's not true. There was no legal document, no court ruling, no statement from his attorneys. What his mother posted wasn't confirmation, it was hope, a feeling, the first sign in a long time that something might finally be shifting in his favor.
And I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, almost home, you know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, I just heard gunshots, you know what I'm saying? So, and I ducked down.
Media outlets treated it carefully as a hint, a tease, but social media, it turned it into a headline overnight. And now the entire conversation is built on that misunderstanding. But here's why the hope isn't random. Because for the first time in years, there are real developments behind it. This isn't just emotion, there has been movement. In January 2026, prosecutors quietly dropped several charges against Melly, including witness tampering, gang-related counts, and solicitation. That's not small. That's the state stepping back, even if only partially. At the same time, his legal team changed. He brought in Drew Findling, one of the most recognized criminal defense attorneys in the country, a lawyer known for handling high-profile cases and aggressive courtroom strategy. That alone signals something. This case is being recalibrated. The system is finally being challenged. Then came March 2026. Melly's attorneys filed for a bond hearing under Florida law, a direct challenge to his continued detention.
Here's the hard part where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't
This isn't
find
just
much
another
as
request.
one shell
This
casing.
is a
They
formal
didn't find
argument
one
that says
piece of glass,
7 years
nothing.
without a conviction is too long. They cited new evidence. They cited harsh jail conditions. They cited the sheer length of time he's been held. And when you look at the numbers, it hits differently. Over 2,800 days behind bars without a guilty verdict. That's not normal, even in serious cases. And then there's another key development.
In October 2025, an appeals court upheld the exclusion of certain text messages that prosecutors wanted to use, messages that were supposed to help establish intent. That ruling matters because it limits what the state can present at retrial. It takes away part of their narrative. And in a case like this, narrative is everything. So where does that leave Melly? Here's the uncomfortable truth. He is in the strongest legal position he has been in since 2019. And at the exact same time, he is still facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. Both are real. Both exist together. And understanding that contradiction is the key to understanding this entire case. The forensic wall.
He might do a couple more years, depending upon how Florida works their system.
Now, let me make this very clear. Because you take a proffer doesn't mean you cooperated. But if you cooperated, you have to take a proffer.
I do want to have a quick conversation with Mr. Henry. I'm going to put him under oath. Life in Florida State Prison, followed by life in Florida State Prison, followed by life in Florida State Prison, followed by life in Florida State Prison.
Because despite everything that has shifted, the core of the prosecution's case hasn't gone anywhere. The forensic evidence still stands. According to investigators, all shots came from inside the vehicle. Trajectory analysis places the shooter in Melly's seat. A shell casing was found inside the Jeep. One victim had gunpowder burns, meaning the shot was fired at extremely close range. That's not speculation, that's physical evidence, and it directly contradicts the original drive-by story. The mistrial, in what it really means. At the first trial, the defense didn't try to prove innocence. They focused on one thing, reasonable doubt. And it worked. Almost. 3 jurors weren't convinced. That's all it took, mistrial. But here's the part people overlook. That trial happened before Cortland YNW Bortlen took a plea deal. The game-changing factor. Because now, everything is different. Bortlen was in that car, he was there. And now, after accepting a deal, he is legally required to provide a full account of what happened. Before, he could stay silent, hide behind his rights, refuse to speak. Now, that option is gone. And if his testimony lines up with the forensic evidence, that changes everything.
Said if they subpoena him, he can no longer take the Fifth Amendment on these issues. Just ask, did Mr. Demons, that's Melly, ever leave that car? Was he sitting behind you at the time of the shooting?
The missing piece, motive. But even with all that, there's still one major gap. Why? Why would Melly, at the peak of his rise, kill two of the people closest to him? The prosecution has offered theories: jealousy and financial disputes, personal tensions within the group, messages involving his girlfriend, even alleged gang-related advancement, but none of these have been definitively proven. And that lack of a clear motive, it mattered. It's part of what kept jurors divided the first time. The culture war around the case. And beyond the courtroom, this case has become something bigger. The hashtag Free Melly movement isn't just a hashtag, it's a belief system. Artists like Meek Mill have spoken out. Fans have shown loyalty for years. Streams continue to rise. But after Bortlen's plea, the energy shifted. Some people doubled down. Others started questioning everything. Because at some point, evidence starts to outweigh narrative. So what happens next? Right now, everything comes down to one moment, April 30th, 2026. A judge will decide, does Melly stay locked up, or does he walk out on bond? Not permanently free, not cleared, but no longer sitting in a cell waiting for a trial that's still months away. And that's why those two words mattered. Because when his mother said, "Melly coming home," she wasn't speaking from nowhere. She was reacting to momentum, to movement, to the first real opening this case has had in years. But whether that feeling turns into reality is no longer up to the internet. It's up to a judge in a courtroom on one morning in Broward County. And until that decision is made, all anyone can do is wait.